Namaste. I would like to talk about the role that nature plays in the growth and development of children and how it aids education. So to talk about this, I would like to go back a little, take you down memory lane, a little bit of talk about a little bit of my own journey. So when I look back, since I'm a city-bred person, I used to be terrified of anything which is wild. I was okay with tame animals, but anything that was wild, even if it was a bug like a bee or a wasp or a caterpillar for that matter, I used to be terrified of them. And when so I spent close to 18 years of my life in Bangalore. When I used to have brief stints, and I used to go on my vacations to my dad's hometown, which is Kodagu. It's also called Coorg in English. And there I would spend a month or so during my summer vacations. And that wilderness there had a strange attraction for me. All I remember is I would not want to come back to Bangalore from there, but it was always my dad's way, and I had to come back for the rest of the 11 months here. When I went to Hassan to do my engineering, sometime in the year 93, 94, things changed. And what I mean by things changed is किताबों में जो भी था मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा था. Those huge fat engineering books are only words, a bundle of words, and they didn't make sense to me at all. But at the same time, what also happened was, since Hassan is close to the Western Ghats, I started going on these treks, and that was a whole new world for me. The wild, the mountains, the forests. It simply was an amazing place. And I loved going on these treks, even though I was completely terrified of the wild animals. There were wild animals there that time. There were tigers, leopards, and elephants, and snakes, and all kinds of bugs. Though the terror was there, I still was drawn to those mountains and forests. So it was a mixed experience kind of thing. But I used to long to go to the mountains. And when I was there, I was really happy. I was really thrilled to be in that space. So, but after then I dropped out of my engineering, and I think that was one of the best decisions I made in my life, because I don't have to pursue just one stream in life, which most people in our society do. That they define their education defines who they are. I don't think I am like that. I never wanted. I don't want to be that way. I think human beings are multifaceted and multi-talented, and we must explore the different dimensions of our personality. So I since I didn't complete my engineering, but I still spent about a decade in the corporate world. And sometime around 2008, I came across this article in the paper about a program on snake awareness by Jerry Martin, a well-known herpetologist and wildlife conservationist who lives in Bangalore. So I registered for the program, even with that feeling of terror within me. Terror because if I watched a program about snakes on Nat Geo or Discovery, I wouldn't be able to sleep that whole night. I would have dreams of snakes chasing me all over the place. But I registered nevertheless. And after attending the 3-day program and understanding about snakes, I was totally fascinated by them, and a deep sense of reverence kind of developed towards snakes. So much that I took up snake rescue during my free time. So the place where I lived, off Sarjapur Road at that time in 2008, there were a lot of snakes, and snakes would enter people's compound and their homes. Not just in the place where I live, but surrounding areas. So slowly, people got to know about my rescue, and they started calling me home to their homes, where if they had a snake within their compound or so. And and this whole experience of snake rescue also shifted my perception of other creatures, to the extent that the fear of bugs and other animals went away. What I look as wild animals went away. I don't know how that happened. So today I'm absolutely comfortable walking into a forest, and I've been barefoot for the last 7-8 years. So I walk barefoot even through the forest, and there is no fear of any kind. I don't know how that happened. It just happened with my snake rescue, what I started doing. And I think I can go so far as to say that it was snakes that helped me to come to Udhbhavaha as well, because there was this gentleman in HSR layout who called me because there was a snake in his house and on his terrace. And when I went and I got the snake, it was a non-venomous bronze-back tree snake. So I just took it and let it go in the neighboring plot on a tree. And the person by name Suhas, he invited me for a cup of tea, and over that chai, we spoke about our interests. And he said that he was having conversations with people around the world about education, and that rang a bell because I was deeply concerned about the education system and how children are shaping up in society today. And I felt that I would like to do something in this area, but how, I didn't know. And when he said that, and it connected, and that's one key incident which helped me to be where I am today. So now coming to Udhbhavaha and talking about how nature has played its role here. So Udhbhavaha is located in a 4.5 acre mango grove. So this whole place is like a forest, and there are mango trees, sapota trees. We've grown papaya and banana, a lot of fruit trees, and it's like a forest. So when you come there, you don't feel that you're just 10 kilometers away from Bangalore. It's like that. It's dense and it's green. So in this space, what I have seen, what we have seen in the last 6 years, is that children feel a sense of freedom there. So one is the way we look at the whole aspect of education, but I think the wilderness, the caterpillars and the butterflies and the snakes and the birds and the leopards and the wild boar that inhabit that space along with us play a significant role in the temperament of the children there. They contribute to how how children are shaping up in that space. So when I talk about leopards and wild boar, they don't come into the space when we are there. They obviously visit this Udhbhavaha in the night. So they are the evening class students, so to say. They leave their pug marks there for us to see in the morning. And today, we are so far away from nature, and its impact is showing upon us. When I say so far away, what I mean is recently my colleague had taken his daughter to a college to enroll for a degree on sustainability, on a course on sustainability, a 3-year course on sustainability. And he was surprised to see that there were no trees in that university. How are you supposed to learn about sustainability, about coexisting? Is something I couldn't figure out, and neither could he. So when we talk about sustainability sitting in a classroom, when I talk about nature, when we look at trees and plants in the book, I don't think we develop a connection with nature at all. I had read in my school textbook, I still remember, that the whole biology lessons and zoology lessons for us happened in the classroom, and the teacher just said that the leaves on the trees are green, So I thought, yeah, it's green. And they all looked green to me. But when I go out into our campus and look at every tree and every plant has a different shade of green. They have a different texture. They may have a different smell. Now, I didn't know that, to be frank. Um, I've never thought of this aspect before, but it just occurred to me now that in school we didn't realize this. We just thought it was green and it was a leaf. We do a standard shape of a leaf, like whatever, and that was a leaf for us. But here there are different shapes of leaves, there are different textures, there are a million shades of green. It's such an amazing world. So for me, uh, I don't think I would be a great person to tell you the names of all the trees and all the plants around. But for me, what I would like children to be is to look at nature with a sense of wonder. Because that's what happens to me on a daily basis. Every leaf that I see looks so beautiful. Uh, it may be its shape, it may be its color, it may be its texture, and it will be that small bug which is crawling on that leaf, and it transports you into a different world altogether. And when you are there in that space with that sense of wonder, I think learning takes a whole new shape and form. You are not just learning that bug is a caterpillar, but it's a life form that's sharing that space with you, and it's deeply connected with lives. I never knew that. I learned in my textbook that the tree gives out oxygen, and we give out carbon dioxide. The tree takes carbon dioxide in and gives out oxygen. We take, but it was very plain. It was very I don't know what to say, how to put it exactly in words, but it didn't help me develop a connection with the fact that the tree is an integral part of my life, and without those trees and those insects, I cannot survive. I never got that understanding until I went into the wilderness and I felt one with them. And I feel that is what is happening to our children when they they play with the mud, they climb up the trees, and invariably every child develops this itch. It happens to everybody in Udhbhavaha, to all the children, that when they start climbing the trees, some caterpillar will fall on them and they will itch for 1 hour. This is a standard protocol. And now we have figured it out. Initially we would get a little worried, saying that what is this, and then we saw that after 1 hour of scratching and itching, it would subside by itself. Nothing needs to be done. It's those caterpillars, and over a period of time, children will also develop an immunity to that. So to test that, when I come across a caterpillar with those spikes, I take them on my hand and let them on my skin to see if it happens to everyone, and if they are really that bad. And till now, I have not developed an itch. It's the children, because they're still young and their immune system has to develop. So it will, over a period of time, they will. And but most important is their openness, in the mind, the openness that they have towards this other creature, I think is something very, very valuable. And one thing that I see in society today, which is there is a strong movement towards being independent. Now, I'm not against being independent. I think all of us need to develop the ability to be independent. But as human beings, I think one of the most important aspects of relationship is interdependence, which I have realized over the years. And there is no other place than nature to show us this, to help us understand this. Because in nature thrives on interdependence. When there is no interdependence, you will only see deserts. And what's happening, in fact, even Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, as he's trying to save these rivers from going dry, and also saying going on this mission to save soil. One thing that he talks about is growing different species of trees and plants in one given space. So he also talks about the fact that forests don't need maintenance, whereas our well manicured lawns, which have just one type of plant, which is the grass, they need maintenance. If you don't maintain your lawn for a month, they die. Whereas who has been managing the forest? The forests have thrived because there is interdependence. Birds, caterpillars, snakes, elephants, and the trees and the plants and the creepers, they are interdependent. The rains, the wind, all the elements, are add to this whole masala of nature, where everything plays into another's life. Everything contributes to another's life. And that's how nature thrives. And that is a valuable lesson for us, that when there is interdependence, relationships are possible. Since we are social beings, independence will take us away from each other. In fact, that is what our society has come to today. We are so independent that we can sit in a room with a gadget and live our whole life. We can order whatever we want and we can live all by ourselves. But then where is it taking us? People have depression, they have behavioral issues, they need antidepressants, they need addictive substances just to stay alive. And why is this happening? Because we are going away from our human nature. So being in the midst of nature, this learning becomes a part of us. And I'm looking at these things in a whole new way, with these children, talking about. And there's another interesting learning which I had about 2 years ago. So I started learning about birds. I had, learned about snakes since 2008. Then I started developing an interest for birds and insects and all that. And I started learning the names and a little bit about them. So I started sharing the names of different insects and birds with children. But then I realized that is very limiting. Giving a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old child the name of a bird, I know that bird. Okay, it's a bulbul. And there was it also helped me to understand another aspect, that will it kind of stop the child's learning by making the child think that, okay, I know the name of the bird and I know the bird. I don't need to know anything more about it. It's a very unconscious process. But I felt that, and I stopped telling the names of birds. It's not very conscious, but I don't pay attention to that. It's not so important. More important is the bird itself, its presence there. So when you don't talk about the name, you don't know. And as long as you approach something as I don't know, you are present to it. You are present to every movement of that animal. You are present to it, the colors of its body. You're present to the sounds that it makes. In fact, I think because of this, today, even a small bug, like yesterday we had a caterpillar, which was absolutely fascinating and beautiful. I hadn't seen that caterpillar before. And that had our attention for almost half an hour. We would just looking at it to crawl, and then we would try touching it, and it would coil up and look like a different creature because it has these camouflage technique where it shapes itself into a different insect. It looks a little large because it has some eye-like design on its body. This is to ward off predators. It was jet black and it had those yellow eyes kind of thing. And since I didn't know the name of the caterpillar because I was seeing it for the first time, and we were all able to look at it with wonder, saying that, wow, what a beautiful creature. And we looked at it had our attention for almost more than half an hour, and it was beautiful. So we will give it our own name. It's a black caterpillar. It's a black caterpillar with big eyes. And I think that's enough. When a child wants to learn about it scientifically, there are sources. There is no dearth for information today in this world. But what is really required, which I think is happening in Udhbhavaha, is this sense of this connection which is developing with nature and the myriad creatures that share this planet with us. And I think that's something that is a very beautiful thing which is happening in Udhbhavaha.